So a national concealed carry reciprocity bill has been introduced into Congress. It just made its way through the House Judiciary Committee, and it will head to a full vote on the House floor. Now, really quick before we jump into this video, I just want to ask you guys for a favor. If you want to support the channel for free, please consider subscribing to the channel. Also click the notification bell, turn on all notifications because that helps to ensure that YouTube will actually send these videos. But also just drop a positive comment down below because that helps to tell the algorithm that you appreciate this type of 2A content and it should share this video and other videos to more people. So like I said in the intro, a new bill has been introduced into Congress which aims to create national concealed carry reciprocity. The bill we're going to be talking about in this video is H.R. 38, also known as the Constitutional Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act. The bill comes off the heels of the recent promises by President Trump to sign into law national concealed carry reciprocity. Well, now Congress has introduced this bill and its goal is to fulfill some of those promises, and it's now actually passed through the House Judiciary Committee markup, which happened last week. So there was a lot of interesting things that happened during that discussion, and now what happens in this, now that it's actually passed the committee, it is going to get more momentum, and now it's going to head to the House floor for a full vote. Now, for those not aware, there have been different forms of permitting schemes throughout the United States. There has been may issue states, there have been shall issue states, and now there are a lot of constitutional carry states. In may issue states, there is a lot of discretion that is given to law enforcement officers by the state legislators on when and how they will actually grant concealed carry permits. Now, this may issue scheme really isn't that big of an issue anymore because of the Supreme Court's New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin decision, which struck down New York's may issue CCW licensing scheme and found that shall issue is the minimum standard in the United States. Now, that doesn't stop some states like California, New York, New Jersey, and others from trying to create, kind of pseudo may issue states, create crazy training fees, long wait times, and still try to import some sort of discretion through things like good moral character. But may issue generally has been struck down. Now, in contrast, there are shall issue states where you just need to meet some minimum objective standards and requirements, and then if you meet those requirements, the state there has to give you the permit. Now, the last type of carry structure is constitutional carry states where no permit is actually required. At least it's not necessarily mandatory within the state. In a constitutional carry state, the state legislator has established that as long as a person is not a prohibited person, that individual does not need to actually have a permit to carry concealed. These states may still have some permits available. Usually those are for reciprocity purposes so that that person can travel to another state and carry concealed in that different state. Now, one of the big issues with concealed carry permitting is that some states refuse to recognize other state concealed carry permits and makes it a crime for an out-of-state visitor to carry concealed within that state. This bill, which was introduced, seeks to fix that very problem. This bill, H.R. 38, was introduced by Representative Hudson within the House, and it's supported by 178 other individuals in Congress. The Constitutional Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act would allow for those who live in a concealed carry or constitutional carry state to carry in other states. It aims to make it lawful for you to go and visit another state and to carry concealed under your state's permit scheme if they have one, or you can carry concealed in the other state if your home state is a constitutional carry state. So what does the text of the bill really do and what does it say? Well, it states that the only thing that will be required for you to carry concealed in another state would be for you to have a valid state ID, and that is really all that would be required if your state is a constitutional carry state. The other option is that if your state still requires a permit, you simply just have to have your own state permit. You have to have that valid permit within your own state, and then you can travel to another state and it has to recognize that permit. So under this bill, let's say you come into contact with law enforcement, maybe they pull you over and they find out that you have a firearm on you and that you're carrying concealed. All you need is a valid ID if your state is constitutional carry. And then the only other thing that you would need if it's not is a valid permit within your own state. And if you provide that, then they really could not do anything to you. Now, the other very important thing that this bill does is it has some terms in there like the handgun, and the definition of handgun includes any magazine for the use in handgun and any ammunition loaded into the handgun or that magazine. So if your state laws say that maybe you can possess or carry standard magazines, maybe 11 plus rounds, well, then you could potentially concealed carry those also if you travel into another state. Now, we still haven't seen fully how that will, kind of play out. The important thing is that California and New York probably are going to have some pushback against that because, they have their own magazine bans. But one of the things in this language is it says it also carries the concealed carry of magazines because those are treated as part of the handgun. Now, like I mentioned, this bill has been introduced into Congress and it recently went to the House Judiciary Committee for a markup and a vote. Now, the general discussion at the committee hearing was kind of about what you would think it was. The anti-gunners within the committee tried to cry about how so many guns will flood the streets. There will be so much crime. It's going to be the Wild West. And this bill is creating complete chaos and should be opposed. They claimed that it would increase crimes and also put police officers at risk. But there was, again, a lot of pushback against that because the statistics don't show that any of that would actually happen, because now at this point we have 29 constitutional carry states and we've actually seen a decrease in crime. There was also a lot of amendments that were proposed by the anti-gunners. They wanted to add in amendments that would bar anyone with a conviction of committing any crime against a law enforcement officer from being able to carry concealed under the bill. The issue with that is that the proposed amendment really would be redundant in some aspects where if you're already a prohibited person, maybe with a felony conviction under federal law, you already are not allowed to be in possession of firearms, so it would be redundant in that nature. And then also it would apply too broadly, and it would really override a lot of restoration of rights. So if someone has already restored their rights, well, then this amendment in the bill would say that you still couldn't conceal carry even though you've restored your rights because you have this past conviction. And based on that, the amendment was denied by the committee. Now, one of the other things they tried to do is they tried to amend the bill to include some domestic violence restraining order, prohibitions on carrying concealed for everybody. And then also the nonviolent felony amendment was also included in that, where they wanted to say, no, you could not carry concealed if you had that domestic violence restraining order or some sort of felony conviction. Now, again, a lot of that was redundant because of the Bipartisan Safe Communities Act when it comes to domestic violence restraining orders and stalkers and things like that. And then also under federal law, it would also be redundant because, if you already have a felony conviction under federal law, you're barred from possessing or purchasing firearms. So again, the amendment was denied for being redundant and overbroad. Now, one of the interesting things that also developed during the committee was you had Representative Massey out of Kentucky, who I love. I think he does amazing things, especially when it comes to the Second Amendment. He wanted to add an amendment to the bill, and essentially his amendment would have taken the bill to a more constitutional, national constitutional carry. The bill essentially would have not just been reciprocity, but essentially would have been national concealed carry for every state. What was interesting about that is, right after he proposed the amendment and there was going to be some feedback on it, he then just on his own right immediately pulled it. So again, that was interesting because he was the one who proposed the amendment for constitutional carry nationwide, which would have taken the bill to something completely kind of different, but even better in my opinion. And even Jim Jordan said that that would be better, but then Massey decided to immediately pull it, probably because he knew there would be a ton of pushback on that. The anti-gunners in the committee were already freaking out about what the reciprocity bill already said. And if you were going to say it's going to be pure constitutional carry nationwide, maybe you'd lose some votes even from the own colleagues from the Republicans who maybe thought that would be too much. That's unfortunate, but that's probably what happened. So like I said, this bill is very important, especially post the Supreme Court's decision in Bruin. It could also help to fulfill some of the promises made by Trump during his campaign. There was a big push during the election to pass concealed carry reciprocity, and now H.R. 38, this bill here, was a bipartisan bill that is now passed through the committee along the party lines. There was 18 votes in favor of it and only 9 votes against it. So now this will move to the House floor for a full vote. Now, there's always the likelihood once this moves along that you're going to get hit with the filibuster to try to stall out this bill. So we need to get everybody behind this bill, contact your representatives and tell them that they need to support H.R. 38 now that it's going to move to a full House vote. I will leave links down below where you can find your representatives, and then also I will leave the U.S. Capitol Switchboard down below where you can call in and tell your representatives that you want them to vote in favor of H.R. 38. So good news, as we get more information on this, I will let you guys know. If you like this video and you would like to support the channel, one of the best ways to do that is to like, comment, and subscribe. All those things help to fuel the algorithm, and it signals to YouTube that you guys see value in these videos and in this type of 2A news. But as always, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And never forget, this nation was built by armed scholars, and this nation will be maintained by armed scholars.